depressurizing, and we're coming up on the power transfer.
What up, everybody? We got somebody in here. Alright, so we're gonna do SSRF. So recently I've been doing hunting for SSRF bugs a lot in bug bounties, and I'd like to understand a little bit more about how they work and how to exploit them. One problem is getting the CRF token. Now, some problems can occur with CRF tokens. One, they aren't validated to the session that's being used. So you could use, say, the site just generates you a CRF token and it's not validated to a session, right? So as long as you have that token, anybody can do the data. So an attacker can just get the CRF token and use it for Jill instead of for Bob, okay? Or they can take Bob's CRF token and use it on Jill as long as they have a valid CRF token. That is one of the problems with CRF tokens. So another problem with CRF tokens is they don't expire. So, and this is also valid for bug bounties. So let's say they generate you a CRF token, right, and it lasts forever or a very long period of time. When you're submitting a bug for that, you would tell them that once this token has been taken from some other exploit or any other means, probably somebody going to the browser or accessing to their physical device takes the CRF token, and then they can use that to make authenticated requests, okay? That's another bug. But let's go over in a little bit what CrossSite request forgery is. In a successful CRF attack, or CSRF, there is another attack that I call CSRF, and that's SSRF, so server-side request forgery, just because it has an S, C, the C has an ocean, then a surf. All you have to do is put a U between S and U and R, and it's surf. So these can be a little bit confusing, especially when I'm talking about them, but I usually talk about them in the context, so hopefully people can pick up on that. So we're just going to refer to this as CSRF from now on, alright? The attacker causes the victim user to carry out an action unintentionally. For example, this might be to change the email address on their account, to change their password, or to make a funds transfer. Depending on the nature of the action, the attacker might be able to gain full control over the user's accounts. If the compromised user has privileged roles within the application, then the attacker might be able to take full control of the application's data and functionality. I was able to find CRF full account takeover. It was out of scope, but I submitted that anyways, just because of the severity. And typically, depending on the severity of something that is out of scope, companies might listen. So, but don't report lows or mediums, and you could probably get away with a high. But they're only going to look at crits when it's out of scope, especially on HackerOne. So you have to do something really damaging to get their attention on HackerOne. So that's something to keep in mind. Don't go out of scope too often is another point. Because you'll just get it'll affect your score. How does the CRF attack work? Relevant actions, alright? Cookie-based sessions handling. Performing the action involves issuing one or more HTTP requests in the application rely solely on the session cookies to identify the user who has made the request. Right, that's a little bit about what we talked about, the token not be attached to the cookie. Alright. No unpredictable request parameters. The request that performs the actions do not contain any parameters whose values the attackers cannot determine or guess. For example, when causing a user to change their password, the function is not vulnerable if an attacker needs to know the value of the existing password. So that is another point. So let's say you're doing you're trying to you're trying to test CSurf on like changing the user's passwords, one thing you can just throw out if you see it is if they ask you for the current password, you can already throw that out because that's not a vulnerability. If the attacker already knows the current password, he doesn't need to do CSurf. All right. Things I'd look for is changing the email for CSurf because typically, even if the attacker can easily get the user's email, changing the user's email, changing the address for the user, deleting things on the user's account is another one. Log in and log out are typically out of scope, but if they're not in scope explicitly, submit it. I've done that once or twice and they got a duplicate. But those are easy to find. Nowadays, it's starting to become a little bit more common that you'll see them adding session cookies or session tokens into those. And we're going to demonstrate Burp Pro here a little bit as well, which I'm pretty excited about. There is a new in-skill scanner that came out this week, so I checked that out. I'm going to be downloading that after this video. In-skill is a really cool GraphQL parser, and it does scans and it'll automate a lot of things for you. It saves you time. How to construct a CSurf attack. Now, select a request anywhere in Burp, right-click on it, and then go to Engagement Tools, Generate CSurf Proof of Concept. Burp will generate the HTML. It does have a little bit of a problem with JSON. And a lot of websites are using JSON now because of GraphQL, and it's been a little bit challenging recently, to say the least. Let's check out this lab. So we got some labs to do. All you have to do is make an account to follow along. Pretty awesome. Oh, we don't need that. This lab's email change functionality is vulnerable to CSurf. To solve this lab, craft some HTML to use the blah. So we'll go here. The credentials are Carlos Menos, Montoya. Man, they really like Carlos. I think Carlos is Charles first in Spanish, which is my name. How to deliver an SSRF exploit. The delivery mechanism for cross-site request forgery attacks can essentially the same as for reflected XSS. Typically, the attacker will place the malicious HTML. Oh, if you want to do a cross-site request forgery box, which I might do tomorrow, just to stay on theme a little bit, we're gonna do my buddy and OXDF made a cross-site request forgery box. He really good box. I suggest you guys do it. It's very easy. It's marked easy. But you'll kind of get lost if you didn't know that it's cross-site request forgery. And but I'll probably do that tomorrow. Really good box. Love doing it. You don't get many boxes like that one where it's web based. And then induce the victim to visit the website. This might be done by feeding the user a link to the website via an email or social media message. There's another attack that's really cool. You can do with that too. Or if the attack is placed into a popular website, they might just wait for the user to visit the website. Note that some simple SSRF exploits employ the get method and can be fully self-contained within a single URL on the vulnerable website. Now that's one thing too to look forward for. So let's say they only process the CRF token on a post request, right? Make sure you change the post request to get with inside burp and then submit it without the token and see if it still processes it, because the developers may have forgotten to either deny that the other method or and still allow you to perform the action. I think that's about it, really. I don't think there's another order to it. But they might have forgotten to think about a get request and using that as a post request. You can do that with web applications. Post is preferred over get because post will hide the parameters, like in browser history. But the get method will be saved to places. So they're supposed to use post, but sometimes they'll use get. And sometimes when they use post, they'll forget that there's a get method to use, a get verb, right? So that's one thing to look forward to. And you saw with the burp thing that you don't even you can just go to a malicious website and they don't even need you to click on anything. Okay, that is something to always keep in mind. If you go to a malicious website, they don't really need you to click on anything. They can just have a script running in the background, and once you land on that page, you're screwed. Kind of makes me paranoid about Pornhub. Anyways. Anybody have any questions about SSRF so far? Yeah, so they can just make a JavaScript on the website that will run the CRF, so you don't even have to interact it beyond just laying on the web page. So if a malicious actor, let's say your bank's vulnerable to CSRF, and somebody's like, "Hey, I have some banking tips on my website you should come read," and you go visit that site, and they kind of tailored it for your bank and stuff like that, they could just run that script and see if you're logged in on your bank and steal your money or do some kind of authenticated function. So that's one way attackers can work. CSRF's still is still out there. but a lot of sites employ the tokens. And, as we already talked about, those aren't surefire and they have to be set up correctly. So, like the other day, I found the ability to delete stuff without a token on a website. But that's just a low. It doesn't pay well. And here we're going to do validation of CSRF tokens. Depends on the request method. Some applications correctly validate the token when the request uses the post method, but skips the validation when the get method is used. In this situation, the attacker can switch get method to validate the CSRF attack. So we'll do this. I don't know if CSRF breaks anything really. The other one, cores can break a site if it's done bad. I believe last week maybe I was just talking about it, but one company I know that implemented cores, they you can't have 2-access allowed headers, which they did, and because they had both headers, they cancel out each other, and so they broke their core's functionality. I'm waiting for them to fix it and do it wrong, and then gonna submit a bug for it, because I'm sure that they either did it on purpose or they're stupid. So I'm leaning towards stupid. Because if you just implemented cores that way, like, why not just turn it off? Especially if you're using Amazon, the AWS buckets, you just click a button and it turns off cores. So I'm not sure how they implemented their website, but I'm pretty sure they're just stupid. Because who would implement cores like that so that it doesn't work? And they marked my finding as an A because I wasn't able to exploit it, but they were a hair's breadth away from paying me like $1,000 to $2,000. What am I supposed to be doing here again? Attack. This lab changed the email functionality. Okie dokie. And am I Carlos again? Carlos. Moitana? Montonia. I can't spell his last name. Montana. I'm bad with Spanish words. I'm real fucking bad. I think it's Montana.
Here's to spending time creating new recipes and new memories with family. When you get Publix delivered, you have easy, convenient access to the ingredients you need to prepare a meal for your loved ones right at your fingertips, so you can focus on enjoying those little moments. So let's get inspired, let's get cooking, and let's make something memorable at home together. Visit Publix.com/shop today to get your groceries delivered. Powered by Instacart. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Prices vary from in-store. Fees, tips, and taxes may apply, subject to terms and availability.
I said some things that I can't take back, but I would if it got you off my mind. I've been losing my sleep cause I'm thinking about you, yeah, it happens all the time. You used to make me smile, now you wanna make me scream. It's crazy how connection came apart at the seams. I miss you but I wish that I could go back. I said I love you and I wish you didn't know that.
And something to remember is you can see here it has a token, I believe, but the token's broken. So something to keep your eyes on. Where is it? No, yes. No, that's just the yeah, I want to say that's a token. No, it's the session ID. No, it isn't. It's the CRF token, but the CRF token's broken. I don't know. Proving they'll laugh at you if you submit this with HackerOne if you include the CRF token. Because I did that once and I was like, oh, it's my bad. I'm an idiot, guy. Sorry. I'll excuse myself. Anybody have any questions about this lab or what we covered so far? What do you mean not solved? You foolish fool. Solved. Solved. That's right, I beat the lab. I will share my skills on Twitter. Because I'm cool. I guess I won't share my skills on Twitter. Validation of CRF token depends on token being present. Some applications correctly validate the token when it is present, but skip the validation if the token is omitted. What? Yeah. So there's a lot of different things people can mess up on. Don't be discouraged just because you see a stupid token. Okay, you gotta test the token, that the token was designed correctly, alright, and they went through all the different things with the token. So, when people make mistakes, for one reason or another. Hello. Do you have any questions? We're doing SSRF here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. That's broken for sure. There we go. Change email again. We're going to the lab. I'll tell you what, the cores labs are really hard. Not because like it's the cores labs are like challenging, but as in like getting the cores to work is really hard. Because it doesn't want to work sometimes. But I think I was messing that up. I'm using my work VM. No, I'm not. Thank gosh. I thought I was. I fixed it. So one thing I do is I run burp from the command line, and I thought I didn't have burp pro installed on here, but it's in the file system. So, oh my god, this is slow. I know a song everybody's gonna like.
When you arrive at devastation, there's a simple explanation. You're a toy maker's creation, trapped inside a crystal ball. And whichever way keeps up to build up, we must be resilient. Be more to break our spirits as we sing our silly song. When I was a little Billy gal, these boys overtook my city. They shipped me off to the orphanage, said this soldier to be what it is. So I got 1,000 holes, I cut a rug with orphan fools. Now we raise the flag and fix our fears, they still do the work we call. When you arrive at devastation, there's a simple explanation. You're a toy maker's creation, trapped inside a crystal ball. And whichever way keeps up to build up, we must be resilient. Be more to break our spirits as we sing our silly song. When you bungle all your bangles and your loved ones have been mangled, listen to the jingle jangle of my gypsy tambourine. As these chords
I know what I did wrong here.
will turn harmonizing. So please, children, stop your crying and just sing along with me. When I was a little Billy gal, these boys overtook my city. They shipped me off to the orphanage, said this soldier to be what it is. So I got 1,000 holes, I cut a rug with orphan fools. Now we raise the flag and fix our fears, they still do the work we call. When you arrive at devastation, there's a simple explanation. You're a toy maker's creation, trapped inside a crystal ball. And whichever way keeps up to build up, we must be resilient. Be more to break our spirits as we sing our silly song. When you bungle all your bangles and your loved ones have been mangled, listen to the jingle jangle of my gypsy tambourine. As these chords are hypnotizing and the whole world's harmonizing. So please, children, stop your crying and just sing along with me. When I was a little Billy gal, these boys overtook my city. They shipped me off.
Any questions about this this lab? Anybody have any questions about this lab? About what we just did? No? Alright, let's go to the next lab. So just to summarize what we did here is they do use a sessions token for CSurf, but it only validates it when the token is there. If the token is not there in the request, it will still perform the action. So that is one thing to test. Just because there's CRF token does not mean it is not still exploitable. It is our job to make sure it is not exploitable. CRF token is not tied to the user sessions. We talked about this earlier. So you can hear me, or am I unhearable? It is? You can't hear me? Can you hear me? I'm just talking to myself. Let me see if I can hear myself. Self. Yeah, I can hear myself. I can hear myself. Hello. I'm so kind and thoughtful to myself. You're a great person, Chicken Pony. You're a great person, Chicken Pony. That's pretty fun. Yeah, it's like talking to a mirror. Token is tied to a non-session cookie. So we're going to do this one. Are any of these labs get marked as solved? No. Not solved. Not solved. Not solved. Let me down, burp. So with this lab, there are 2 accounts. To solve this lab, your exploit server to host HTML attack to change the viewer's email address. You have 2 accounts in the application. To help you design your attack, their credentials are Wiener Peter, Wiener, Carlos Montana, Manotia. Who am I supposed to attack? Who's the viewer? I'm so confused. I'm gonna guess Mr. Wiener. Peter Wiener. Oh, and we need Carlos's Sea Surfer token. That's what it is. We just need one of their tokens. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Okay, good. Who's the viewer? So we'll say he's the viewer. We're gonna change Montana. His name's Chicken. No, one of my favorite extensions for Burp is Flow. It is on the Community Edition, and it is great. It is so freaking great. I bet you could use this CSRF functionality thing for cores. Let's see if this will exploit it. what's going on here. I don't know. Let's log into the wiener. Feeder wiener. Feeder wiener. I was watching this movie the other night. It was Unfriended Dark Web. And this guy like got a new Apple laptop, and the default password for when you get the new laptop is question mark, and then he his password was like 6 letters long. I shook my head. I think that's the most horrific thing about that movie. How could your password be so crappy? They'll never get in. It's Apple. Apple secure. My old boss liked to lick Apple's. He really liked Apple products, and I'd always hate to like rain on his parade that it's just as vulnerable as any other system. And he lived in constant denial, but he didn't know shit about computers. Live in denial. Oh, now I confused myself. So you can change the tab names. We'll name this Carlos Wiener. No, I think I spelled Wiener wrong. Oh, well. So we're gonna use Wiener. Change Carlos. I'm a genius. These wieners, right? What am I doing wrong? Has anybody got any ideas? Starting to feel a little stupid. It said change email, right? For the lab. Starting to feel real stupid right about now. I tell you. Real stupid. I'm so confused. Farty at gmail.com. McFarty at gmail.com. That is wieners. Going down to Carlos's. Generate proof of concept. Change the token. Copy. Store. Alright, I'm gonna look, because this is... I know what I'm supposed to be doing, man. With the browser proxy traffic with burp, change the email form and intercept the resulting request. Make a note of the value of the CRM, then drop the request. Open a private incognito window browser tab, log in into your other account, and send the change email request to the burp repeater. Observe that if you drop the CRF token with the value from the other account, then the request is accepted. Okay. Do what now? Okay, so let's close out all this. that out. Close this out. Close this out. Close this out. Clear flow history. Let's go access labs. We're gonna, still in Mr. Wiener. So there is some session handling going on here. So we'll go to account. We'll go to Carlos Montoya. Montoya. Make a note of the value of the CRF token change in form, intercept the request. I don't want to log into Burp through incognito. Drop the request. So now we're going to log on to Peter Wiener. Peter. Oh, I messed that up. Yeah, I did spell it right first time. Peter. Now observe that if you swap the CRF tokens with the value of the other account, the request is accepted. So we're gonna do chicken pony. But that worked. I did what you said to do, and you failed me. Monsters. But I did it. So what if Carlos is the viewer account and we're supposed to get Peter's? So let's inverse it a little bit. So Peter's the one we're going to be exploiting, so we're going to be logging into Mr. Wiener. Wiener. Gonna change your name, Mr. Peter. Chicken pony. Oh, shit. Fudge. I did it again. I'm putting some music so I can think properly.
Cross mountain ranges, split cells, command the tools of tomorrow. We are a team of 1 million unique and powerful individuals. Join forces with us, and you can take on anything. What's your warrior? Find out at GoArmy.com.
This is total bullshit. Using type to use a session. What about an It is not accepted. Oh, so it worked. We got it. That was a pain in the butt. It wasn't a hard concept to understand, but Lord, it was a little challenging to exploit for sure. We can move on from this one. Yeah. So to recap, sometimes session cookie, sometimes CSRF tokens aren't associated with the account. They are just generated, so they're not linked to the session cookies or the session ID. They're just generated tokens to verify that the request is authenticated. In you can still exploit it. How many more of these do we got? Only 4, 5. Oh my no! Holy crap! 3, 4, 5, 4. It's a non-session cookie. In a variation of preceding vulnerabilities, some applications do tie the CSRF token to a cookie, but not to the same cookie that is used to track sessions. So it's tied to a cookie, but it's not tied to the same cookie that tracks sessions. This one's gonna be hard like the other one. Yeah, oh my god. Like, the concept's not hard to understand, but exploiting it sure is tough. Anybody have any questions about the other lab? Before we start another one? I might go get me some tea real quick. I'd like some tea. Oh my god, I don't want to mess with this type of thing again. It's not too hard. Well, I guess we know what we're doing. I'm gonna go grab some tea real quick, and I'll be back. I'm back. Has anybody else tried exploring sea surf in the wild? Have you had any troubles or successes? Okay. We'll assume it works the same as the last one, where we have to drop the token. So we'll intercept the request. So we'll turn on interceptor. So it's not tied to this, it's tied to this. Then we'll assume this is somehow count specific or just a general thing. Maybe it's not even count specific. So we'll intercept this, drop it. We might have to cut this short. It's bedtime for my kids, and we can pick up tomorrow, and we'll finish off this lab. And then tomorrow, we'll do the OXDS box, where we'll be doing sea surf. And then if you got VIP access for Hack the Box, please come join us. We'll be doing that. It'll be a great learning experience for everybody. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm going to be cutting it early. And I might play some video games, stream some video games, Diablo 3 later. If you want to come join me doing that, that'd be great. But you'll have my kids and my wife in the background. And I don't know if you have 3-year-olds, but they like to scream when they're going to bed. So that's why I'm cutting it early. She's very fussy. Thank you guys. And don't be sure to join the PwnySec CTF club if you haven't already joined it. I work with the PwnySec CTF club, and it's a great place to find mentors, to do CTFs, and find somebody to help guide you doing CTFs. That's where I found my mentors. I highly suggest you guys join. Thank you.